Hello, my name is Dr. Christopher Holmes, and I will be your facilitator for the learning session today. So let's continue, jump right in, and get started with some driving questions. Number one, when you look at this image, what do you need to consider in order to teach these students? Number two, what are some things that you don't see that are non-observable that you also want to consider in order to teach these students? Pause the video, find a partner next to you or somebody in a small group that you can have this conversation with, centered around these two questions. Take 3 minutes and come back to me. Pause the video now. Welcome back. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation, but let's dive a little bit deeper. So, as you had the conversation with your partners or with a small group, I hope there were some things that came into the conversation. And I hope that one of those things was student mental health. That is going to be our focus today, making sure that we don't leave learning in limbo by leaving out mental health as a focus for student success. So here is what we're going to really narrow in on today, and that is going to be the last two things for the focus: recognizing mental health and providing intervention. Remember, focus for today is recognition and awareness of mental health as well as intervention. So let's get started by warming your brains up. I have 5 quick pre-assessment questionnaires I want to give you. So let's get started. Number 1, what is the most common mental health disorder in America? 10 seconds. All right, the answer is anxiety. Anxiety is the most common mental health disorder. Number 2, what race in America has the greatest percentage of people suffering from a mental illness? 10 seconds. You can do this. Remember, no penalty if you don't get it right. All right, the correct answer is mixed races. Mixed races have the greatest amount of people suffering from mental illness. Question number 3. Approximately how many people under the age of 18 had a major depressive episode in the last year? How many under the age of 18? 3 seconds. The correct answer, 96,000. That's a large number. Number 4, of those screened to test for depression, about how many screeners ages 11 to 17 years old report significant thoughts of suicide or self-harm? What percentage between the ages of 11 and 17? 3 seconds. The correct answer, almost half, 49%. And the last question. According to a recent study by the CDC, what percentage of teens are stressed? And I'm sure many of you are raising your hands. How many teens are stressed? 5 seconds. And the correct answer is 61%. That's a pretty large number, 61%. So why do we need to focus on mental health? Well, before we can answer this question as it relates to schooling, we need to differentiate between the difference between mental health and mental illness. Mental health is always there, but it's temporary, it's short term, and it can be both positive or negative. So being depressed, that is a short term or can be a short term condition. Mental illness, however, is more long term. It is something that affects a person's ability to function over a longer period of time, like being bipolar or having schizophrenia. That is a long term illness and not to be described as a health condition. There's a difference there. Now, when we look at mental health in low income households, I want you to consider the data that's being presented here. Pause the video and read over this, and then we'll come back. Pause now. Now, when you look at the data that's being presented here, I hope that you notice there are some significant differences between students that live in low income households and their counterparts that live in middle class or upper class households. So this is definitely something that we need to consider because there is an impact that students enter, or a concern that students enter our schools with every day as it relates to mental health. So here is a survey given to administrators. And these administrators have identified many of the issues they have seen related to mental health that enter their building. I want you to pause the video and see if you can come up with what some of these principals or administrators have said in your small group. Right? You don't have to get them all. Just see how many you think they have really identified. Pause the video now. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes. Come back and then we will continue to share. Pause now. So let's see what these school administrators have identified. The first one at 72%, anxiety, followed by unhealthy social media use, lack of family stability or support at home, difficulty coping with stress in a healthy way, difficulty managing emotions, vaping or e-cigarette use, depression, families not having enough money for basic needs, substance use issues, and feeling unprepared for the transition out of school. And I'm sure there are more that didn't make this list that are below 58%. So let's pause the video and we're going to have a quick conversation centered around this talk time question. Have you experienced or observed students with mental health issues? 3 minutes, have a conversation with a partner or a small group, and come back. Pause now. I hope that you had some very rich conversation. Now let's keep moving forward in this session. And let's talk about the effects of mental health on student learning. We already have gone into being aware and recognizing mental health issues among students. Now we're going to look at the effects. When left untreated or undertreated, coping with the pain of mental health can contribute to self-harm, including thoughts of suicide, which is now the second leading cause of death for young people ages 10 to 24. Results have showed that mental health was a significant predictor of future academic performance, and that overall students whose mental health improved between, get this, first and third grade made better academic progress than students whose mental health did not improve or worsened. Wow, first and third grade. So let's have another talk time conversation centered around this question. Do schools have time to focus on mental health? 5 minutes. Find a partner or a small group, have the conversation, and come back when you finish. Pause the video now. Welcome back. I can tell you guys are really getting into it now because I know you're having some very rich conversations. So let's continue with another talk time question. This time, let's center around this one. What is the school's role in addressing mental health? 5 minutes again. Find a partner or a small group, have the conversation. Pause now. Come back when you finish. Pause now. Welcome back. So now let's have more conversation, but now let's enter that conversation around an intervention. The intervention I want to discuss with you is the whole child approach. A whole child approach which ensures that each student is healthy, safe, engaged, supported, and challenged, sets the standard for comprehensive, sustainable school improvement, and provides for long-term student success. And I know that's what each of you desire. So let's look at the tenets of the whole child. Number 1, each child enters schools healthy and learns about and practices a healthy lifestyle. Number 2, each student learns in an environment that is physically and emotionally safe. Each student, number 3, is actively engaged in learning and is connected to the school and the broader community. Number 4, each student has access to personalized learning and is supported by qualified, caring adults, i.e. teachers and administrators. And number 5, each student is challenged academically and prepared for success in college or further study and for employment and participation in a global environment, the world around them. Pause the video now and have a short conversation around these 5 tenets. Let's take 3 minutes, okay? When you finish, come back. Pause the video now. Thanks again, you guys are having a wonderful conversation. So let's talk about how do we ensure learning is not in limbo. Okay, number 1, teach students, not subjects. Number 2, have empathy. Number 3, have strong relationships. They are key. Number 4, safe and supportive environments are critical. And number 5, provide students with a voice. Have a conversation around these 5 things. Pause now. When you finish, come back. Pause. Thank you for having that conversation. Well, guess what, guys? We have come to an end. Remember, our focus today was recognizing mental health issues and providing intervention, which we did through the whole child approach. If you have any questions or you need clarification from my time with you today, feel free to put
your question or comment in the chat, or you can email me at the email address listed. Again, thank you so much. That is my time for you today, or with you today, and I appreciate your engagement and your participation. Have a great one.